Bonjour and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Claude here. Today I'm going to be doing the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle review. I did the matching tarot deck review last week. I will leave you a card at the end of this video if you want to go and check it out because they work beautifully together. But this time this is the Oracle. So you will notice that it's purple. The other one was turquoise, teal. So same type of presentation but in a different colored box. So let's start with the box. So it's a hard box. It's really nicely done. You can see it's done by Kelly Burton. And this is how the sides look with the bee. And then the back. So 68 card oracle deck and a guidebook. I will leave you all of her details in the description box below so you can order from her website, and it comes in really quickly, by the way. And this is her website right here, sacredsoultarot.com. So it's a magnetic box and everything fits in really nicely. And when you open it, you have got sacred geometry. Both the decks, the tarot and the oracles, are based on a sacred geometry, which explains in the guidebook. And you are greeted with this sentence here: the bees are nature's alchemists. Using the wisdom of sacred geometry, which is the intelligence of the universe, they bring life and sweetness to earth. And then you have a nice thick ribbon. This is your little guidebook. I will get to that in a minute. And the cards, I'm just going to show you the box first. And then inside, you can see beautifully purple. And here you have beautiful drawings, and it says, "Hold the wisdom of the bees sacred. With great reverence, this deck is dedicated to the tireless efforts of the tiny ones who perpetuate our food supply and keep our planet alive with beauty." Now, I love this deck because, as I said in the tarot deck review, matching that one, some of the money that she makes will go to education about the bees and helping the bees, just generally speaking. So I really like that. I like to know that my money is going there. So we then move on to the little guidebook, which is about the same as the tarot one. It's the same setup. So matte with coloured. There's the spine. And there's the back with a quote from Albert Einstein: "Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty." So, you open it. This is how it looks. This one doesn't have a table of content like the tarot deck. So it's just set up slightly differently. So you've got a welcome page, so you know, a little blurb. And the important thing about this is in the last paragraph she says that all cards are archetypal representations of patterns we follow and how we work through situations. The elements can be considered our stages of development leading up to understanding and ultimately our enlightenment. The sacred geometry throughout the deck is there to inspire you to make connections with origin and spirit. So the deck is composed of the elements, and you've got 5. So you start with fire, water, air, earth, and then ether. And each of the elements has 13 cards, and there's also 3 extra cards. So you've got 13 cards for each of them. So this element you will find on the actual cards, so you know where to look up for the meanings. So she explains how to do a reading, and you've got, you know, your 3 card spreads, the wisdom of the sacred bee, 5 card spreads. She moves on to explaining the sacred geometry and the dimensions, why she wanted to make sure that the cards are 5 inches tall. These cards are 5 inches tall. So slightly taller and slightly wider, but she tried to get to the sizes of that would be in harmony with sacred geometry and the golden ratio. So they're 3 by 5 inches. And she explains the concept, and then she explains the 3 extra cards. They're called the 3 lineage cards. And and they are bonus cards, and you can use them as you want, but you can use them as significators, for instance, if you're doing a specific reading, or you can use them as clarifier, or you can use them on your altar for meditation. So you have the Queen, which I will show you on the cards anyway, the Worker, and the Drone. And then you have a little bit about bee wisdom, the wisdom of the survival of a species. So she talks about, you know, very swiftly about the bees and how they survived. Then you move on to the first category of card, which is the element of fire. So you have a little blurb there that explains what fire represents in the oracle. And then for each of the cards, you have an explanation of the picture right there, and then some kind of meaning of the card, and then a bit of advice what you could do, which is highlighted. And you have that for all of the cards. So as I said, you've got 13 for each suit, if you want to call them that, for each element. And then you move on to the next one. I'll just show you quickly, which is the element of water. And this time the bee wisdom is about the compassion of the bees and water and temperature regulation, which tells you about that. So you get your 13 cards. Then you move on to the element of air, and again, bee wisdom, mental clarity, bees in the air, some little facts. Then it moves on to earth and master architect and builders. And then obviously same setup for the cards explanation. And then the final element, which is the element of Eva, bee wisdom. And then she explains, she gives you the explanation basically. And there you have it. That is the Vitruvian man with the bee on top. I hope you can see that. I thought that was kind of a cool little drawing. So that's the little booklet. And now let's move on to the cards. So the cards are stunning, purple, as I said, 5x3. They're matte, and if you can see, you have metallic bees on top. They are beautifully gilded, purple. No glitter there, by the way, just nice gilding. And they shuffle like a dream. They are the same quality as the tarot deck. Okay, so you can see, really nice cardstock, and they're matte, so there's no glaring. It's nice. So let's start with the 3 extra cards, which can be used as signifiers, as she said, but you don't have to, you can just put them in there. So you have the Queen, the Drone, the Worker, and then you move on to fire. So you see the inspiration, fire, and that's that little symbol there. Passion, optimism, innovation, ambition, sensuality, protection, inner genius, co-creation, courage, redemption, bee wisdom. I really like this one. The snakes, it's nice. Constraints. And then you move on to the water element, so the inverted triangle, the emotional, intuition, harmony, devotion, reverence, stagnation, subconscious, overwhelm. Hope you can see that. Indifference, dreams, melancholy, tranquility, compassion, then we move on to air, which is the triangle with a line through it, the possibilities, mental clarity, insight, knowledge, the unfolding, denial, anguish, mindfulness, breakthrough. You see, I really like this one. Hope you can see. Connection. And then transcendence. We're still in the same element, sorry. Decision. Evolve. And then we move on to earth. Now I really like the fact that it's done by elements, because it, you know, if you read tarot and you read with the elements as well for the suits, I think it's a nice touch, because you can get more when you use the tarot decks with the oracle. So the tangible, manifestation, groundedness, ancestry, abundance, nurture, expansion, architecture, discipline, scarcity. And you see how this is the suit of earth, and scarcity makes me think of the Five of Pentacles, if you use the Rider-Waite-Smith terminology, is what I'm thinking. Growth, you can see how it correlates. Greed, values, the soul journey, new element, that's Ether, the other element. Quintessence, the prism, illumination, Ouroboros, observer, etheric body, mandola, enigmatic, Taurus, deity, mana, and the final one, ascension. Now, because there are no table of contents, if you want to use the guidebook, you have to check out what element it is, and you have to scroll through the 13 because they're not even in alphabetical order. So that's a little bit of a thing. However, I've got to be honest, I think the art is so gorgeous that actually I just use my intuition and the keyword that's on them. To me, this deck and the tarot that matches it, they're deep divers. I have been through every single card and wrote down what I thought the meanings were, as in what came to my mind when I was reading them, and then I compared with the little book and you know, mixed my messages with what I saw it meant. And so now I've got a very detailed meaning for the oracle and the tarot deck. I really recommend it. I'm not someone who's into colors, but I think this is stunning looking, and do check out the tarot deck. I'll leave you a card here to see, because they work beautifully together. So I would definitely recommend this, but again, I'm not affiliated. I just review decks that I buy and love and tell you about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I wish you a fantastic week, month, day, whenever you're watching this, and I hope to see you again very soon. Until next time, au revoir.